Hey guys, it's Lance at McV Audio, and today I'm going to be doing a firmware upgrade to my 2009 Mac Pro, essentially making it a 2010 Mac Pro. And you say, why do this? Well, the benefit is I will be able to install faster processors, that's right, upgrade my Mac Pro to a much faster 12-core computer and be able to install faster RAM. So you could not do this unless you do the firmware update. So step one to making a faster 2009 Mac Pro is to upgrade the firmware. So stand by, keep your fingers crossed. I have mine crossed, and hope that all goes well.
Okay, so I unzipped the firmware tool and double-clicked it, and a little Mac Pro comes up on your desktop with the name Mac Pro Firmware Tool. And basically all you do next is hit the upgrade to 2010 firmware. Now if you upgrade it to 2010, you can also go back to the old firmware if you needed to, which is a plus. But only if you have the original 2009 CPUs in there. If you upgrade the CPUs, you can't downgrade the firmware. So after you click upgrade, a little disk image on the right appears, and then it goes through its thing and starts creating a RAMDISK. Then those are the instructions, which I'm going to print up and have it more clear as what you're supposed to do after you shut down. So now we shut down the computer. Here are the instructions. Reboot the Mac Pro by holding down the power button until the power light starts to flash. Then after a few seconds, while still holding the power button, you will hear a tone. Immediately release the power button and the firmware updater will begin the update. So now that the Mac is rebooted, it's booting up off that disk that it created on the desktop, which is the firmware updater. There we go, it's booting up off it, and it's starting to do the firmware update. I sped this up because it probably took about 4 to 5 minutes for it to go through the line here. And once it's done, the computer automatically shuts down and reboots itself. We hope. And there we go. We're booting up under Mountain Lion 10.8.5, and we'll see what happens. So we'll go to the system profiler. There we go. And it says early 2009 still. So here's the original model identifier in boot ROM before we did the firmware update. Mac Pro 4.1, which is the 2009 Mac Pro, and you'll see the longer boot ROM version down below there. And now after the firmware update, it should say Mac Pro 5.1, and it does. When you install faster RAM, you have to zap the PRAM to get the Mac to recognize it. Okay, so now that the firmware has been installed, I can upgrade my processor, which I have not purchased any yet. I'm still kind of looking at them to pick out what the best scenario is. Right now I'm kind of eyeing the 5650, which is a Westmere 12 cores for 2 chips, 6 cores each. If I install two 5650s, giving me 12 cores, I'll get the same multi-processor score as a brand new 2013 Mac Pro.
So I will be able to upgrade my processors and my RAM when I'm ready, and otherwise it's just going to work like it usually does. It still says it's a 2009. It didn't magically change to 2010, which makes sense. But it does say now that it's a 5.1, which is essentially a 2010. So that means I can put in new, faster processors and faster RAM, and I will get audio out of the mini display port, which I believe didn't work before. So there you have it. 2009 Mac Pro, a 4.1, is now a 5.1. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.